So I want to share a little bit of our testimony concerning money, just so you guys kind of know where we came from. So I was the president and CEO of my own company when I was like 8 years old. I borrowed a piece of equipment from my dad. It was a lawnmower. And I went around our neighborhood and I mowed my neighbors' lawns. But here was the catch. They like give me like $5 or something. But I had to give them a discount because they had to start the mower for me because the mower is so big. You pull the clutch and you have to pull the cord. I couldn't do both at the same time, so they had to help me start it. And the thing was so it was way more powerful than what I could handle. So oftentimes my hands would let go and then the mower would die. So then they have to come back outside and help me pull it. Because I was 8. I had to work with what I had. And if I complained to my dad, he would have given me a pair of scissors. I'm not doing that. So, but what I did with those profits, I could not tell you. I have no idea what I did with it. And then I was probably about my next job. I was like 14. Do you guys know what Svenharts is? Those little pastries with it has like the jelly in the center and all that stuff. Okay, so my cousin was a driver for them, and he had a route up in Lake Tahoe. And so I went with him delivering pastries all around Lake Tahoe. It's a pretty cool job. It was fun. And I did pretty good, made some pretty good money. And I could not tell you at all what I did with all that money. It's like as soon as it came to me, it was gone. It's like I didn't even get to touch it. No idea what I did with it. And then, let's see, a friend and I, we grabbed some more lawnmowers and we mowed the neighbors' lawns, only this time I could handle a lawnmower. Wasted that money too, have no idea what I did with it. Went to Wisconsin, and I worked with my grandpa. He owned a locker business. So we went all around the state of Wisconsin and a little bit into Illinois and built lockers for gyms and schools and things like that. I was so excited on one because has anybody ever lived through a tornado? Like been in it? Me neither. But I came like this close and I was so excited because we were in the school and the alarms are going off and people are being evacuated, and my grandpa was like, all right, man, well, we can finish this wall. We can stay and we can risk it and just build this wall and we'll be done. We could hightail it out of here and we go home. Or we go and hide out and wherever they want us to go hide out, and we have to stay until they give us the all clear. I was like, I'm with you, Grandpa, whatever you want to do. I'm willing, let's build the wall. I've never seen a tornado, it'd be awesome. He's like, oh, you don't want to see a tornado, but let's just get this done real quick. Well, we got halfway through and he's like, no, forget this is too dangerous, let's get out of here. We get in the car, the wind's blowing, it's going crazy. I thought I was gonna see a tornado, I never got to see a tornado. I was really disappointed. Yeah, it was too bad. It never landed, so I don't know why the alarms went off and people were freaking out, but so we had to finish the job the next day. I made pretty good money doing that too. I mean, it was with my grandpa, so I think he gave me a little cush in my check just because I was his grandson. We got in trouble with the state though because I was underage. I didn't have a work permit. Well, and my aunt, she worked for the state and she did like the employment stuff. So she was trying to help us out, but no, somebody called it out and was like, you need to take care of this. And so she's like, yeah, you're fired. So, but they had to get little gas stations, so I was able to help out in the little gas station. My grandma didn't pay me as good as my grandpa, I'll just say that. But anyway, I made some pretty good money. And I came back and I was able to buy my dream drum set. It was like this shiny green pearl drum set, double bass pedal, all my cymbals I wanted. It was sweet, man. I think I had like $5 left after I bought this, after I bought this drum. Huh? It was a couple $1,000s. It was like, yeah. I was out there for 3 months, and I worked with my grandpa for about a month and a half before I got caught. And then I worked with my grandma. So that's when, yeah, anyway. So, yeah. So I saved that whole, well, because I'm living with my grandparents, so all the food was provided by them. I didn't have to spend a dime. I didn't spend a dime, not a thing. So I was able to save up everything So when I came back, I already had that goal, man, I'm getting that drum set, and I did. I did it like the next week after I got back. I couldn't wait. Well, about a year later, our bassist, because I was like I told you guys before, I was in a garage band in high school. I was a heavy metal band. That's why you have double bass pedal. Yeah, but it's on tape. You said, that was funny. Oh, man. And I don't know where that tape is, so sorry. But then the rest of the money, I have no idea what I did with it. The bassist actually destroyed my drum set, wrecked it. I mean, he totally annihilated it. We left all of our equipment in his basement, and one weekend he just felt like thrashing his basement. Anyway, the point is I spent all my money on this dream drum set, and it was wrecked. Anyway, so I was about, I don't know, maybe 17 years old. And then I got like a real job where, I had to like pay taxes, and I had to show up on a schedule. Wasn't working for family. I was working for somebody else. And I opened up my own bank account. I got a checkbook. I start writing checks, and life is good. I'm just a teenager, spending money, whatever. And I get a letter from the district attorney's office. You know who the DA is? And the letter said, you wrote X amount of checks, and you paid $0 amount of dollars. So we're about to come and arrest you for fraud. Check fraud. I freaked out. I'm too young to go to jail. I freaked out, man. So because of bad budgeting practices. So basically what I was doing was I'd be like, okay, payday is coming up on Friday or whatever day it was. I'm going to spend this much money. I don't have the money to buy this now, but I'm going to write a check because by Friday I'll be able to do it. Not thinking that, when I give somebody a check, they want their money like now. They're not going to wait until a couple days. They want it now. And I thought, okay, well, if they cash it, then it has to go through processing and all that stuff. I was wrong on that one too. So stupid. They would cash it right then. And then the next day, the bank would process it. Well, it already cleared through before any checks, before my income went into the checking account. So then all these checks bounced. And the DA was on my case and said, the way that I can get out of this is, number one, I have to pay these people back. It was small amounts. It wasn't like I was out buying TVs and stuff. It was just regular stuff. But I was just throwing out money. I was making it rain on these commercial places, man, these retailers. And so I had to pay them back. And then I also had to go to a check writing class provided by the district attorney's office. Inside that check writing class, they didn't teach you anything about money, but they just showed you the checkbook, and they said, here's where you put your credit, here's where you put your debit, don't spend more than what you make, don't write a check if you're not going to debit it outside of your account, sign here, have a good day. And then that was as far as my education went at that point. I actually don't know what my credit score was at that time. But leading up to where Rena and I got married, we got together, my financial state was a mess. I mean, she married me in a mess. It was like she saw this guy rolling around in mud, and she's like, oh, I see potential. I mean, we got together here at this church. We met here. And it was just by divine appointment. The Lord set us up. And we got married, got into an apartment. My stuff was so bad, man, that the power company wouldn't even let me put the power in my name. She had to do it. That was embarrassing. And then my phone was all like, okay, so here's what happened. Before I met my wife, I injured my arm, and I couldn't work. So I was out of work for 3 months. I was getting a letter from the car lender, or I had a car note on a SUV, and I was 3 months behind. and they wanted to come and take it. But yet they also didn't want to take it because they knew that it was like a waste of their time. But I don't know, it was just a complicated thing. Because I even told them, I said, why don't you come and take it? Because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to pay this thing off. This was before we got married, right? And he was like, well, we actually don't want to take it, but so why don't you just keep making your payments, make it late, we don't care, do what you got to do. So the Lord like hooked us up with a job, got me back at the cereal plant where I was working before. I'm trying to condense a really long story for you. And so I was starting to make better money. I'm back to work. My arm is healed. I'm still like scraping by, trying to pay this car down. Dude, this car had so many problems. It had so many issues. I mean, it lied dormant for months because I was out of work. I was on a couch without work. Rena and I took a trip to California in it. We're expecting Reagan. She's pregnant. We went and took a trip to San Diego, and we go up towards Las Vegas to come back, and the thing almost overheats. But we still make it to Vegas, and we still made it home safe in that car. I mean, God has been, his hand has been with us, man. I mean, he's just totally blessed us and protected us. Tried to get a cell phone during that time. Couldn't even get a cell phone. She had to help me get into a cell phone. It was terrible. We had to get the cheapest phone that T-Mobile could put us in. You know why? Because my credit was horrendous. It was like horrendous. You have poor, fair, good, and excellent. I think I was like below poor. I don't know. It was like my credit was so shot. It was just junk, man. And so our finances got so bad, we were in straits, man. When we moved into our apartment, we didn't have anything. We had nothing, zero, nothing. And just little by little, the Lord helped us accumulate things. It came to a point to where that Explorer, we actually paid it off. We paid off the car. It got paid off. So that was a nice boost to the credit. And then the head gasket blew on it 2 months after we paid it off. That was unfortunate, but we had to sell it. And so we put it out on the market for, I don't know how much it was, I forget, but we couldn't find the title. Rena anoints the car, she prays, and the next morning she finds the title, and this dude wants to come and take a look at the car. And we told him up front, hey, the head gasket's blown, it's probably gonna cost you a bit to get it fixed. He's like, I don't care, I just really like this car. It was my investigation car, so it had the really dark windows. You couldn't even get a flashlight through that thing. I think that's what he liked about it. It had nice rims, it was a nice car. So it looked nice, but it wasn't nice. Anyway, he came and he looked at it and he brought his mechanic brother-in-law. And his brother-in-law told me, he's like, hey, I told him not to buy your car because of the blown head gasket. And I really don't think the car is worth what you're asking. It's like, hey, I was up front with him, dude. I'm not holding anything back. I told him there's a blown head gasket. He goes, I know, but he still wants to buy it anyway. So we got our cash and he took the car. So, I mean, the Lord, man, he really helped us. We asked the Lord to open our eyes to finances. Help us. We almost got evicted from our apartment. We're going to be talking about tithes and offerings and stuff. We're going to learn about these things. Not tonight, but we're going to go into tithes and offerings. We're going to go into the details of it. Why do we do it? What's the power behind it, right? What's the principle behind it? We had no money. We had 20 bucks. And we had the notice of pay up or scoot out. We had 20 bucks and we see this guy on the side of the road and he was asking for diapers and everything. And when we drove by him, I just had this, man, I just feel like I need to give him this 20 bucks, but it's my last 20 bucks. He's not getting it. I'm going to use it for something else. But if my wife says, and then as soon as I was thinking that, she goes, I think we need to go sow into that man our last 20 bucks. Okay, let's go sow into him 20 bucks. I mean, what is it going to do us? What good is it going to do us? I mean, he's just asking for diapers. It's not going to pay our rent. So that offering, that giving, it was like a seed sown. You know, it was seed sown into him. We gave him that 20 bucks. 2 days later, we weren't expecting our tax return for another 2 weeks. It actually came early. It showed up. My mom used to do my taxes for me because I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about money. I didn't know anything. So she had to do my taxes for me. As an adult, that's crazy, man. As an adult, she had to do my taxes. But, I mean, she was free, so that was nice. And Even she was like, there's no way you got it. There's no way. It wasn't supposed to be here that early, but we were able to pay our rent. And from that day, I just said, Lord, you need to please open my eyes and help me. And he did. He showed me finances. He taught me how to get out of debt. He taught me how to make more money. He taught me how to spend less. So he really worked with Rena and I to get out of this hole that we were in. So we decided to look into a home. I'm telling you this whole story just so you know where we've been and where we are now, so that you kind of have a picture of the stuff that we're presenting to you, that we're going to show you, isn't stuff that we're just making up. It's stuff that we applied. This is everything that we've used. And if it'll help us, it'll totally help you. Totally. We went to go get a home loan. We wanted to buy a house. So we went to Wells Fargo. They checked our credit, and then they stopped talking. They saw the credit, and they're like, to get into a home with your credit, it's going to be real difficult. You're going to be paying a lot. So we recommend you clean up your credit. Here's a credit counselor. They'll help you pay off your debts or whatever. And it was like $100 to go see them. And at that time, I'm like, I'm not paying $100. I don't have $100. It's going out everywhere else. I'm not going to pay it to a credit counselor. So we asked the Lord, help us. How do we do this? So we did a little research. What do they do? All that. And everything that they did, everything that they do that you pay them for, we did it ourselves. We made phone calls. We started paying things down. So I think my score was in the 400s, 500s. It was in the poor category, okay? It was in the poor category, the very poor. It was like the poverty. It was like poverty poor. It was bad. So we were like down there. And you want to talk about discouraging? That was discouraging. How are we going to get out of this mess? And the highest you can go, does anybody know how high what the highest score is? 900. Yeah, 900 is the highest score. So basically, when we went for that home loan, they laughed us out of the bank. They did what you did. Home? How you going to get home? And you want a home? So we just worked on it, man. We worked with the Lord. We did everything that he showed us to do. We were always consistent in our tithes, but we upped our offerings. We started being better givers. We really stuck to a strict budget. We did a budget outline, and we just stuck to it, just strictly. And started paying everything down. Well, a month ago, the house. So about like 4 years ago, we were looking for a home, and it was just like everything was too expensive. Nothing was like working for us. Well, we get a call from our realtor, and she's like, I think we found the home that you're looking for. Brand new, built from the dirt up. She's like, but we got to get approvals and all this stuff, and we're kind of like, we're done with that for now. We'll do it later. But there was just something. We just had this unction. We need to go check it out. So we went, we checked it out, we really liked it, we had a witness for it, so we went to the lender. And the lender said, well, we'll write you pretty much any loan you want. It just depends on how much you want to pay. Like, okay, well, how's everything else like looking? How's all the numbers and everything looking for us to do it together? And she goes, well, we could just use one score, really. We don't need both scores. Because the credit score, we went from 400s, 500s to 820. So our credit score is now in the excellent category. That was over a 8-year period. 8-year period. So the Lord, when you put him in your business, he'll get you out of some hairy situations, man. And that's what he did for us. So how important is it to have a budget? It's really important. How important is it to monitor what you have coming in, what you have going out? It's really important. It's not the meaning of life, of course, but it's important. I mean, if you can't pay for a hospital visit, well, then you won't be able to get that procedure done that needs to be done, or dental work, or put food in the fridge, or you know what I'm saying? So we gotta have a balanced budget, but it's also scriptural to do that. So we need wisdom. We need wisdom in order to maintain a budget. So I want to show you a few scriptures. If you can put up there, Nate, Proverbs chapter 3. and verse 9, and we'll read through verse 16. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline or be weary of his reproof. For the Lord reproves him who he loves, as a father the son in whom he delights. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, in her left hand are riches and honor. Let's keep that verse just up there for a minute. So wisdom in the hands, you have long life and you have wealth, you have riches and honor. So how important is it to have wisdom? If we're seeking finances and we want to understand finances, we're going to need some wisdom here, right? Does anybody know what wisdom is? What is wisdom? Somebody say something? I don't know if somebody said it. Well, wisdom, the short answer to it is it's the right application of knowledge. The right application of knowledge. That's what wisdom is. So we're going to learn about finances, but what we really need, like it's okay that if you have an understanding of income and expenses, you understand how that works, but what we need is wisdom on to apply these principles in our lives. We can hear about tithes, we can hear about offerings, and you can have all the knowledge of it, but we need wisdom to apply it, to actually put it in practice. We need to understand how to keep our expenses under control, how to increase our income levels, and that all comes by wisdom. Because in her left hand are riches and honor. Also in her right hand is long life, which is, I think, you're not going to have too much of an enjoyable life if you don't have any money, but if you have a long life, or if you have all the money in the world and you have a short life, then that's not really worth it either. I think both should go together. I think we should have a long life, and we should experience prosperity. I think we should have plenty. Plenty to be a blessing to others, So now let's look at Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 18. Proverbs 8 and verse 18. Riches and honor are with me, enduring wealth and righteousness. So this Proverbs chapter 8 it's the chapter of wisdom. Do you guys remember who those of you who were here last week, if you read this chapter as Jesus, because Christ is the wisdom of God, you actually see that this is the chapter of Jesus before the world was formed, before the world was made. It's really cool. I recommend reading it. So wisdom, with wisdom is riches and honor. It's with wisdom, enduring wealth and righteousness. So do we need wisdom in order to understand and to apply finances, the principles with finances? Yes. So where do we go to get that? It's through the Word of God. So I have a lot more to say, but I'm going to condense some of it. We're going to elaborate even further next week because it's already almost 1:15, and I want you guys to be able to eat. So, but let me show you just a few more verses that we go before we go. There's 3 verses that I just want to pop up real quick. We'll just fly through them. Nate, it's going to be Romans 1:17, Galatians 3:11, and then Hebrews 10:38. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith for faith, as it is written. What does it say? The righteous shall live by what? By faith. The righteous shall live by faith. If we can go to the next one, Galatians 3:11. Now it is evident that no one is justified before God by the law, for the righteous shall do what? Live by faith. And then let's go to the next one, Hebrews 10:38. But my righteous one shall live by what? By faith. And we'll just stop at that point. So living by faith is important. The righteous, the just shall live by faith. So we're all righteous, we're all just. Why? Because Jesus died for us. We now have right standing before God. And so if we're going to pursue this concerning finances, we need faith. Can anybody tell me where faith comes from? Jesus, thank you very much, who is the Word. He is the Word. So he is the Word of God. So if we're going to get faith for finances, we need Scripture on what we're going to be doing. We need Scriptures to support us maintaining a budget even. This is how we did it. This is what we live by. When we have something we want to pursue, when we have something that we want to understand, we go to the Word first. We base everything that we do by the Word. Does anybody know the basic formula to maintain a budget? So income minus expenses, what do you come up with? You come up with your profit. That's your profit line, right? That's your basic formula on maintaining a budget. And so very simply put, this is very simple. If you keep your expenses less than what you make, less than your income, you should have what? Profit. You should have extra money left over. So, I mean, we all have our own way of, how we're going to spend money, right? So, I mean, if you can save 80%, awesome. If you can save 100%, even better. I mean, if you can save 110%, that's even greater. Good on you. Then you need to teach us how to do that. So, if you have a budget inside your head, you know what you make, and probably some of you don't have many expenses, so it's real easy to maintain that budget. Even still, even if it's that simple, I want us to practice writing down a budget. Cool? So this week, the number one thing I want you to set your mind on, because we're all about like thinking, right? We want to think. We always want to be having our mind on something. But particularly, I want our minds to be on the Lord, okay? So 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 8. That's those love verses in 1 Corinthians. And it's about God and how he loves you. The number one thing is you have to know that you are loved unconditionally. So make that your focus this week, that I'm loved. Do you know that blessing song? His favor goes before you, it's on you, it's within you. The next thing that I want you to practice this week and I want you to think about is how much money do you make? How much money do you spend? And then figure out how much money you actually have left over. I'm not talking, let's determine how much do you want to make and how much do you want to spend. Think about what you currently do and see how much money you have left over at the end of each month. And so then next week when we get back together, we'll talk about how we can improve that income line, how we can decrease that expense line, and what we can do with that profit.